Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Brain Buzz with Mike. I am Mike Harrigan, and I'm coming to you live from the Braining Center in Leesburg, Virginia. Great to have you here. I hope you're having an awesome week so far. So, today we have an interesting topic, and it has to do with the brain, of course, and the brain body connection, of course. Today's topic is about balance training and its effect on the brain. So literally how training yourself for balance, physical balance, affects cognition, all right? So as we always talk about, the brain and body are one system. You train the body, you affect the brain, you train the brain, you affect the body. It's really one system, and we really need to internalize that and understand it, okay? In fact, certain exercises, most exercises have been found to affect positively the brain in different ways. Cognitive function, everything from executive function to processing speed and memory have been shown to be improved through various exercises. And in fact, aerobic exercises in particular have been shown to slow the loss of gray matter in both the hippocampus and the frontal lobe. Hippocampus is critical for memory, and the frontal lobe for decision-making and executive function. So many exercises, most exercises have a very profoundly beneficial effect on the brain. Today, we're going to focus on balance training. How does training yourself to have better balance affect cognition? All right. First, it helps to understand a little bit about the vestibular system in the body. All right. So the vestibular system is a sensory-driven system in our body, in order to coordinate with the senses, that's responsible for our sense of balance and spatial orientation, right? It's a really complex system that interfaces with many other systems in the brain and the body, all right? It needs to coordinate, your vestibular system coordinates with a very complicated and complex auditory system in our inner ear. We have a really involved network of tubes with fluids that help with our coordination and our balance. And the vestibular system coordinates with the auditory system. It also, the vestibular system, sends signals to the parts of the brain that are responsible for eye movements, controlling your eye movements, right? So now it's involved both with your auditory and your visual system. It's this vestibular system that actually allows us to stand up straight, to understand where we are in space, to stay balanced in space, to be able to coordinate our movements in a reasonable way. And in fact, help us to have clear vision. An impaired vestibular system will impair our vision. The brain actually takes this information from the vestibular system, from all these inputs, and coordinates it with our proprioceptive system. Okay, so there, if you recall, our proprioceptive system is this network of nerves throughout our limbs, our legs, our arms, our hands, our feet, everywhere, that's in constant communication with our brain, telling where our body is in space. And the vestibular system is highly involved in that process as well. And your brain it takes all that information, makes billions of calculations all the time, telling your brain where your body is in space, how fast, the acceleration of different parts of your body, and how that's going to affect your balance and your position. So there's a lot going on, and it's all coordinated by the brain, but a key component of that is the vestibular system, okay? So there have been many studies in this field over the years, many studies that all show the benefits and the interaction of the vestibular system and how that interfaces with our cognition, with our brain. Here are just a few results from some of the past studies. Okay, so the vestibular system has an anatomical, I'm going to read this, an anatomical connections to parts of the brain that are involved in spatial navigation. They've actually observed structural changes in those key brain regions after short-term balance training. So in other words, after very short training sessions for balance, they've noticed key changes in the regions of the brain that are responsible for spatial navigation, where you are in space and navigating through space, okay? A second finding, professional dancers and slackliners have been found to have larger gray matter volume in key areas of the hippocampus. Remember, the hippocampus is a key part of the brain, specifically with its responsibilities and effects on memory, okay? Another finding, balance training has been associated with an increased volume in the hippocampus, the basal ganglia, the frontal, and the parietal brain region. So those are four pretty big regions of the brain that are all impactful on general cognition, our ability to think and act responsibly. Okay, and they're saying that balance training has had specific impacts on positive impacts on those regions. So that's the past studies. I'm going to focus today on one study in particular, came out in more recent, March of 2017. That was in Scientific Reports. And if you want to look it up, the title of the study is Balance Training Improves Memory and Spatial Cognition in Healthy Adults. Again, that's balance training improves memory and spatial cognition in healthy adults. So it's a pretty involved article study, and I recommend you read it. Now, the hypothesis of that they had going into this study is that physical exercise programs that have a high demand on the vestibular system, we talked about the vestibular system, will improve memory specifically and spatial cognition. So that was their theory, that if you have a program that specifically targets the vestibular system, that's going to enhance memory and spatial cognition. Now the study was done by implementing just that, a very demanding balance training program in healthy adults. And then they compared the results of people after the training in balance to a group that did training for relaxation, right? That was what the base group did, the control group, all right? And they assessed before and after this program, they assessed for memory, for spatial cognition, for executive function, for balance, and a number of other things. They did that baseline testing before the 12-week program and then after the 12-week program. Now, I'm not going to go into too much details about the actual study itself, but the participants themselves were between the ages of 18 and 65. They picked specifically people that did not have a regular fitness routine that they were a part of because they didn't want that training to interfere with the results of this study. People trained twice a week for 12 weeks, 24 sessions in total, for about 50 minutes in each session. Now, again, the balance training group did the balance training, and the control group did relaxation training for that same period. And of course, the authors of this study took some robust measures to make sure that it was accurate and had maintained strong efficacy. All right. Now, the results, or what they did actually. So again, it was 12 weeks long, twice a week. They did various types of balance training on balance boards, sometimes with one leg, sometimes with others. And throughout the 12-week period, the training itself became progressively more difficult and challenging to the balance system, right? And so they did the pre-testing and the post-testing, and here are the results, all right? What they found was significant, as they speculated and hoped they would find, they found significant improvements in multiple areas. The first and most obvious area that they found results, which you would hope to find, was in the ability to balance, your actual ability to balance. So the balance training had lasting effects on people's ability to maintain good balance, which is expected and hopeful, right? But beyond that, this is a really cool part. So what they found, which they hoped they would and they thought they would, was that this balance training actually affected people's ability to think better. It actually affected their memory specifically, enhanced their memory. They did a number of assessments to gauge this, most of them auditory, and your ability to recall words and to make smart decisions based on the recollection of those words. And then the other tremendous finding here was the enhancement of spatial cognition after the balance training. So we're not talking about just enhancing your balance. We're talking about your ability to think in new ways, more efficiently. So the ability to see where objects are in relationship to each other visually, virtually, right? Your ability to piece things together without all the information there, or with the information being mixed up in a puzzle format. Your ability to look at things from different perspectives. All these types of skills were enhanced through balance training, which is really profound when you think about it. So the takeaway here today, okay, is that balance training appears from these studies, and I think it's pretty convincing to me at least, to change the brain regions that are responsible for memory and other critical cognitive skills, all right? And that all makes sense, doesn't it? When you think about it, when you're challenging your balance, you're activating all these systems. You're activating your auditory system, your visual system, your proprioceptive system, all these systems that have to, and your brain has to make calculations about where your limbs are in space and how fast they're moving and what they're doing and how they are in relationship to each other. And to do that, they're going and activating regions of the brain, like your hippocampus and your frontal cortex and these other areas that are responsible for general cognition, for your memory, for your spatial awareness, for problem solving. So it really makes sense that training your body for balance, activating those regions, is going to affect the other outcomes that are a result of use of those regions. Really, really cool, really, really awesome thought when you think about it. And it really goes to the heart of what we talk about all the time. And when you do something for your body, when you enhance your skills that are physical skills, you're actually activating regions of the brain, and you're actually making changes to those regions that will have impacts on you cognitively. And vice versa, as you do things that challenge you cognitively, you will enhance your physical abilities. You will become a better physical performer. And that is why many of the techniques are now spreading into elite athletic programs, as well as brain training programs for traumatic or substantial injuries or other brain conditions, because they understand now that combining the physical and the cognitive is the best way to get the optimal overall results. So again, as we say at the closing of each one of these sessions, or usually I try to, train your brain, train your body, do them both, do them at the same time. It'll be awesome for you. Some little things that you can do to take advantage of this. When you're doing your dishes, stand on one foot. If that gets too easy, lift that foot way out to the side, make it more difficult. When you're brushing your teeth, brush with the opposite hand, but maybe balance on one foot. Whenever you get an opportunity to challenge your balance system, do it. If you have a desk, I like to stand at my desk. I'm at my desk right now, and I'm standing. I've adopted that practice. Use a balance board. I've started to do that a little bit. So while you're standing there, you're coordinating your fast twitch muscles, but you're also challenging that vestibular system, right? So do things like that. Challenge yourself all the time. Make it more difficult if you can as you get better. All right. I hope that was helpful. Again, I look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday for Brain Buzz with Mike. Until then, have a great week.